No, because in the case of where you are doing liquid to chip cooling, it might affect the chip in a way. Those impurities, those carbons, I mean carbon trioxide, Jesus, I don't forget CaCO3, sha, and all those water particles, they might affect the chips. And then carbon, we talk about this, that everybody's moving to greener energy, or that everybody wants to release generating energy from stuff like fossil fuels, that consume a lot of and that depletes our environment with carbon. And then hardware and e-waste, basically the fact that you have to change chip every now and again due to different updates, is also part of what is constituting as pollution to our environment, that as e-waste and then land and specific. I need to be going moving now. So now the positive output paradox, basically the way the thing works is that it is like a how will I put it here? It's shown here, so if you can read it, negative input, positive output. So basically, the cost of running an AI to the environment is actually very bad. It's very bad. Did I miss? Okay, yeah, I missed a slide. Yeah, I was here wondering. Yeah, so these are like the big tech emission surges. Meta in 2020 plans to move closer to net zero carbon depletion, but they found out that year over year there has been 64% increase in their carbon emission. In fact, I was so shocked about this. I have to go and confirm, and then I have to check Google and Microsoft's environmental reports, and then I found out that they are actually not meeting that their demand. They plan to go less on consuming releasing carbon into the atmosphere, but it was not possible simply because of this fight for AI power, AI this thing. And this is 4% in metals increase because of the data center they built recently. That last year they built were building one very massive data center, and that was part of what constitutes this 64% of their carbon depletion. So found out that the more they are competing, the more they are depleting the environment with carbon. And then most of them, if you check the environmental reports, they will just be giving you, how they agree to, try to fund renewable energy, this, that. They are just funding renewable energy, but in the real sense of it, their data centers, they are still depleting carbon to the environment in one way or the other. Even though they might say they are trying to invest in other stuff, but the real life effect of it is the fact that they are still depleting the atmosphere. So I believe you guys are still hearing me. Hello.
Yes, we can still hear you. We can hear you. Hello, we can hear you. Can hear you. I've
Hello,
stopped
can you
hearing
guys
you
hear
now.
me?
Yes, yes, yes. Please go ahead. Yeah, when I was
Okay, hello.
yeah, yes, please go ahead. Can hear you now.
Hey, Jesus. How are you? please, I where did I stop? If I'm not mistaken.
You were talking about how that negative inputs, positive outputs, that they say they are reducing carbon emission, but they are actually still contributing to it.
Okay, yeah. So I've talked about this, right?
Yes, yes, you have.
Hello. Yep. So yep.
Yes, you have.
I guess I was
You
not
have
that lost for long. I
almost
thought I
finished
was
speaking
lost for
about
long.
this.
Okay,
No,
so
no, no.
yeah, this is like basically the impact, the fact that the cost of having to fund this AI, because they found out that most of all these data centers, in terms of like building them, they basically are not they are not helping the environment in a way. But one thing that you will find out is the fact that their usefulness, the gain, the product of all these AI tools. I think it was recently Google DeepMind developed a software now. I'm not sure. They should have developed a model of predicting floods. Predicting floods. I read that somewhere. I think I read something on floods recently. So I found out that Google DeepMind adds like that's the product of their AI research. And also I have forgotten this. There's another company that did something on predicting the climate conditions in terms of like which side will earthquake most likely occur and all those environmental. So basically, the cost to producing this AI is negative. Now the output is where the positive impact lies in. So to rush down, the governance. But now moving back, I knew I was missing something. So these are like the African AI policy that are mapping out the environmental footprint. Currently, Africans are not really so much aware of the fact that environment is something to be very much important of. Basically, because of the fact that we have not been. I mean, we don't have much of these things. People outside, people in the West, they kind of like experience this environmental hiccups firsthand, but we really don't really experience it due to the fact that we don't have much of it. But as time goes on, in time, if we are going to be adopting it, one thing and things that are going to be needing is the fact that we have to enforce environmental impact assessment. So currently the countries that have this policy implemented is Zimbabwe. They currently have environmental impact assessment, meaning that before you can like start and just come and build data center, you have to first assess the environment, meaning that you have to know the amount of carbon that you can deploy, the amount of, I mean, this thing, the amount of carbon that you depict, and then if it fits with the environmental, condition, then you are fit. So, but someone like Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania, and Cote d'Ivoire, they just acknowledge that, you know, they want green energy. They want this. They did not really include the fact that the enforcement metrics, yeah, that's the word. The enforcement strategy didn't include it. Why countries like Ghana, Rwanda, Egypt, and Mauritius, and Zambia did not even add it at all to their environmental their policy, what's it called, review strategy. I meant. So now the
We are running
government
out of time, sir.
frontiers. Okay, the government frontier on the other hand now. That's the cloud. After noting the fact that AI strategies, lack, there's also a need for data and cloud policies. I mean, to set rules for the green infrastructure. In fact, I didn't know that there was something called, what's it called? Data and cloud policy until this this last week. Yeah. I found out that there was the data and cloud policy, and then it was basically wasn't what the policy is all about is how we use data and how we use data in the internet basically, and how these data are either safe or they are not safe. I don't have time to talk about this, yeah, but that's basically not my concern. But basically, the aim of this is that we need to up our game in terms of like this data policy, including the fact that environmental gaps needs to be accounted for. Let me also go to the strategic threats. That's I talked about this, that there are e-waste dump. E-waste dump are basically chips that are not in use again. The fact that they have to change chips every time, and all that, the chips goes into e-waste, and then it collapse due to massive strain on the grids. These are like threats and possible resource exploitation, meaning disproportionate environmental cost on local community for global data. Now, the pathway to sovereign goods. Okay, yeah, I think this is my second to the last slide. So, Africa must pursue shared and sustainable models in order to, approach this risk duplicating infrastructure investment. So, we need to adopt regional AI hubs, data embassies, and regional cloud policy. Basically, what this is talking about is regional AI hubs are basically concentrating resources into specific regional hubs where there's already green infrastructure available to scale. This prevents the impossible task of financing the grid hubs. Basically, we should make sure that our region, the place where we are trying to put our AI hubs, are places where there are already green infrastructure, meaning that there is no way that the environment will be depleted by consuming their things. Data embassies, meaning that digital sovereignty is not simply as reframing digital sovereignty not simply as control over data, but as collective stewardship and responsibility of how data is stored and all. And then this is my last slide. I think I'm out of time already. So this is mandating infrastructure EIA, that's the environmental impact assessment that Zimbabwe is enforcing. The fact that before you come and build your data center, you have to evaluate our energy, you have to evaluate our water cycle before you just come and build it. And also build an AU regional cloud policy. Currently there is no cloud policy for the African Union. So if the African Union can come up with a framework for the regional cloud policy, and then in a way unify digital environmental portfolios, legally international strategies into national water management industrial strategy. Basically, what this is saying is that we try and add water management and industrial strategies into our AI strategy directly into them, and we should be explicit about it. Be explicit about it. So yeah, that's the end of this. I think I spent quite some minutes above my time.
Let's give this a virtual round of applause. Wow, 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 wow. So this is very profound, man. Very, very profound. This is very profound. This will make a very good LinkedIn post. This will make a very good LinkedIn post, man. And like, I think this is a very, very valid conversation. So I still have some things I'd like you to run us through, but let me just open the floor. If there are any questions before I ask my own clarifications. But this is very research. This is very detailed, and I love it. Well done, sir. You do have to post it back to or several social media platforms you choose to use. Yeah, please don't ask any questions. Just unmute your mic and speak. Any questions? Any questions, Daniel? Any questions, Jasmine? Any questions at all? Any questions at all? All right. While everybody keeps processing their questions, I'll just try to clarify. So please can you take us to this second to the last slide that's when talking about cloud AI or data embassy. If you could just expand it more. Yeah, this one.
Okay. Ah, okay. Let me try and move. Okay, yeah. So basically, these are like just pathways we think we can actually thrive over this environmental impact. And one, these are like just three takeouts that I just I can got from the research is the fact that we should include regional AI hubs, meaning that we should concentrate our resources into specifics where we know that we are going to get green infrastructure. What's green infrastructure? Green infrastructure is basically where you are going to get good energy. Now, not only good energy, because energy is not only the factor now. Checking other environmental conditions, conditions such as water. not depleting the environment. We should they should regionally, that's the correct English. Regionally, find places that support AI help in terms of the environment. They should not only look at the energy, basically. They should also look at the environment. Now, data embassy, basically, they should look for places where there are data sovereignty. And data sovereignty is not, is not simply having control over data only, but you should be able to account for, how you are collecting it, how it is being stored, and how it is being managed in the African ecosystem. So places where you are going to be building this type of AI data should not be places where there are few data, because in a way, it helps the environment. It helps the environment when there's data sovereignty. Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, I can see you. That's correct.
Jesus. Okay, 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 okay. Yeah. So what's the last thing you heard?
You were talking about data sovereignty.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I was basically saying the fact that there's a way data sovereignty helps in terms of the environment, and to the regional cloud policy, updating the AU data policy framework to explicitly address the environmental cost of data centers and ensuring states prioritize and achieve similar green governance. I think I stated it the other way and the other slide that the AU don't really have anything concerning the environmental issue, environmental cost of data centers in their data framework. So they should explicitly it. So I think those are like the three recommendations that I just got. If that's enough, or should I still explain more?
No, thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense to me already. So I remember when you started this work and some people explained to me that, oh, are you sure there are actually gaps in these policies, blah 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 blah. But I believe we can still first stand ourselves that there are actually gaps in many of these AI policies that currently exist. That's even the AI policy that they don't even have. Which they just have AI strategies, right? So we can see some things that have not been addressed. I think the things that Daniel mentioned about AI information, misinformation and disinformation too, you see that not a lot of AI policies have actually addressed that. So this is awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for your presentation. I will give you a virtual round of applause again. Who would like to go next, Daniel or Jasmine? So we can call it a day. All right, Daniel, please try to share your screen.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to share my screen. Just keeping you guys updated on the fact that my screen will soon be shared.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Where
why
did
Daniel
this
is
thing
sharing his
go?
screen? I just wanted to gist you guys that I'm reading some very interesting documents at the moment. I'm quite enjoying them.
Oh,
There's one about like an AI policy playbook. It was prepared by GIZ. That's the or GIZ. I don't know whichever they choose to pronounce it. That German corporation. Sha. So like it's a very very interesting document. Very I have not finished reading it, but so far, like I find it a very awesome summation of how AI policy should be done, and I find the lessons very very useful. I'm also reading. I want to start reading this first AI governance framework that I shared with you guys. The man that wrote that document is a Nigerian, and it's just quite surprising that there's somebody who is working in AI governance in this country and who has been at it for a number of years. Like they even did a launch for that document where they were like very top level officials that were there, right? That they created the best AI governance framework. So this AI governance thing, I feel like it's not for now. Like it's not for now at all. I think I've been telling you guys, it's not for now. In the nearest future, when people need it, that's when they now start calling. Oh, who knows about AI governance? Who knows about AI policy? How can we draft AI policy? Blah 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 blah. And sometimes even these opportunities like come from outside the shores of Nigeria. But then it's an expertise that is very, very necessary because AI is going to permeate our society in every shape and form that we know. So I just want to encourage us to keep working. Yep, yep. Daniel, please over to you.
Okay, hello. I've successfully shared my screen. Today I'm going to be presenting on African policy on AI-generated misinformation and disinformation once again. I presented this topic 2 weeks ago, so this week I focused more on the policy side of things. I went a little bit more in depth on the existing policy and some suggestions that can be made. So I will go ahead and start my presentation now. First of all, just a quick review of last time I presented. I established that AI generated misinformation. Okay, no, generally misinformation and disinformation are a top global risk in the short term. So in the next few years, many countries expect that misinformation and disinformation are going to be they're going to be a high risk factor to their to their countries. So this kind of underlines why AI policy on misinformation is important. Then there are some tidbits here. Currently, information is designed to keep people engaged and addicted. This comes in the form of social media and news and all sorts of things. So information doesn't do well based on the fact that it's accurate or that it has been fact checked and vetted properly. Information is designed to spread as quickly as possible. Well, even though that's not how it should be, that's what makes people the most money. So this can be an avenue for misinformation to spread more quickly. There are foreign powers, foreign interests trying to sway domestic outcomes in Africa. And it is important to keep media factful and not filled with disinformation because that could be a injurious factor to democracy in Africa. Next slide. So I'm just going to define the problem again, even though we did this last time. Misinformation is unintentional, while disinformation is intentional wrong information. Africa mostly uses radio, TV, and social media for its news sources. Lots of disinformation campaigns in Africa are sponsored by foreign powers. There are encrypted networks such as WhatsApp where misinformation can spread without being monitored because of end-to-end encryption. And AI-powered scams are causing a lot of money to be lost all over the world. And unfortunately, a lot of these scams are domiciled in Africa. So now I get into what I read, and I'm going to start with the EU AI Act, Article 50 specifically. Article 50 of the AI Act was important in my research because this is where they talked about mandating transparency. So they outlined that AI providers, that is the people that develop AI, so people like Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, they must inform human beings when they are engaging with an AI. So people should not be engaging with AI without knowing about it. And I'll quickly check my notes. Some other things in this, specifically about Article 50, was that it mandated that AI generated content should be detectable. And they made the people ratifying the AI Act, they made them commit to develop AI detection solutions with results that are easily understandable to a layperson. So the point of this is that people should know when they're interacting with an AI, and it should be possible for them to find out independently with an AI detection tool. Although there are problems with this. They put most of the burden on the people developing the AIs instead of people using them. So that's providers versus deployers. And I only have 10 minutes, so I'll move on from this. In China, they were able to be more stringent because China isn't a democracy. They don't really have to dance around freedom of speech as much. So yeah, they were able to crack down on AI generated misinformation with more strict regulations. India tried a similar thing with fact-checking units run by the government, but the problem is that they have to deal with freedom of speech, so they can't just have a government organization which could possibly be corrupt dictating what is misinformation and what isn't, as that could lead to some problems down the line. And also, there was misinformation and disinformation spreading in end-to-end encrypted networks like WhatsApp in local languages. So you can't track where forwarded messages came from on WhatsApp because of end-to-end encryption. And training AI models to detect other AI generated content in local languages takes more resources because most AI is trained in major languages, not the local languages of Indian people. Brazil faced a similar problem with the monitoring of misinformation, where they had to deal with freedom of speech and not trying to override that. So that's what I was able to discover. Then we get back to the African side of things. There's the African Union Continental AI Strategy. One of the major things about this is that it mandates national media and information literacy policies across all education levels. So a possible suggestion based on this AI strategy is that we should start having digital literacy classes taught in schools so that the people who may fall victim to misinformation will be able to identify it and, have some resistance against it. Yeah. I will move. Wait, before I move on, when there is not sufficient AI policy in various African countries, a problem that can arise is that someone developing the AI may not want to be strictly regulated by the country they're in. So they go to a country with less strict regulations and do what they please, and they're not as subject to the regulations. Okay, so next slide. Some of the challenges in combating AI generated misinformation is that false news spreads faster than true news. There is a lack of evidence on AI and how it affects society because AI only came into, AI has just been on the rise in the last 4 years. That is a very small amount of time. So people are not fully aware of what it's going to do to us as human beings. And then in ethics, there's this thing called the precautionary principle, where you shouldn't go ahead and use a new technology unless you're sure that the risks associated are not significant. You should first prove that the risks are not significant before you go ahead. But this isn't something that was used with AI. We're just all assuming that the benefits will outweigh the risks, and we're going as we go. Then freedom of speech, again, is a challenge in combating misinformation, like I've mentioned a few times, and information overload. When a lot of news is coming from all over the place, you can have a situation where people just unsubscribe from the news completely. So some of my suggestions. I wonder if my time is finished. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we should make sure media literacy is compulsory, both by educating people in school and doing some campaigns to educate people out of school about media literacy and how to identify fake news, how to fact check things, especially important things. Important stories should be fact checked. Another thing we can do as Africans is to leverage the EU AI Act. The part about Article 50, where people have to declare the use of AI, is going to come into effect on the 2nd of August this year, and we'll be able to see what it does. Africa, as it is, isn't a large enough market. They may not have enough leverage to get AI developers, AI providers to declare that AI has been used in the content that's been generated. But the EU has a lot more power, so hopefully that should help us out down in Africa. It should trickle down. Then radio vetting, you could set up a government agency to verify the audio that's been played on radios and sanction radios that are found playing AI generated content. So since you're just targeting a centralized source like radio instead of trying to do it for every little message that spreads all across the place, you could divide and conquer the work or something like that. Then apart from that, you could have independent AI media monitoring agencies for assessing the risks of AI generated content. And finally, fund the development of AI detection systems, just like the ones they have in the EU, trained on regional languages and scripts to identify AI generated misinformation in local languages. In conclusion, political instability, public trust, and a poisoned investment climate are the consequences of inaction on AI policy. AI gives malicious actors like scammers unprecedented deception tools, but it also offers Africa new avenues to detect this same AI and to be more resilient if policymakers act now. Yeah, that's been my presentation.
Please, let's give Daniel a virtual round of applause. I don't see us clapping. Wow, so this is awesome. This is awesome. I love this. Daniel, I don't know if you remember. So can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, do you remember that comment that that guy made on your post that day? You know, he was saying
Yes, I
something
remember.
about training people to identify AI, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, that makes
Yes.
sense. I feel like you know how people used to have what's it called, child abuse campaign. Very soon now, they're having people that are beginning to communities with banner to say this is how to identify AI videos. And like this thing is so real. I remember when I was still like staying with my parents for reason very extent. And they will call me, they will send me a video, they will tell me that, hey, look at this thing, oh, this is going on. I'll be like, dad, this is AI video now, this AI video. But they don't know, right? And then imagine that video they watch now, they're being too easy to dictate decisions they're making in different areas of life. So I feel like this AI generated information is a very, very palpable problem. And especially for like the older generation, as AI generated videos are improving, like they might not be like able to tell that a video is AI or a video is not because they are not really educated on what video quality looks like, right? And then when you scroll on some of those what's it called? I don't use them, but I see some of them. All those doom scrolling platforms, right? You see that like AI videos have become like mainstream in a number of places. So when people start seeing AI generated content as the usual, then how then are they able to tell that one AI content is bad or wrong? I don't know if you heard this VDM case that happened where I think they did a voiceover of a voice note of Tinubu saying something was not saying blah 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 blah. It was start going on and on and on and on. Then I think they eventually realized that it's AI they used to do something to the voice. Like those are very, very serious issues. And that radio vetting is also important because when you are broadcasting thing over radio, you know if it's video now you can see it. But all this time that they have started doing voice cloning, or if it's a sweet sing song voice, you will not even know that it's AI that is talking or something. So yeah, this is very valid. Like always, I would say looking forward to your LinkedIn post on this. I believe people are going to be very interested in engaging with it. And please don't reduce the intellectual rigor of the content when you are posting it online. I actually don't have any questions. I think it was quite clear. What I was going to drill you on was that regulatory arbitrage, but as you're about to leave that slide, I think you spoke to it. So yeah. I think it makes sense to me. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah,
Gift, you have a question, back.
yes, not really a question.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, my thoughts is that all this like all this AI generated content. I don't know. It kind of like there's a way you identify them. Yeah, there's a way I identify them in a way that once I hear those kind of voice like where I'm
I
staying like this,
swear.
they consume a lot of AI generated content. So one of the way I find out is the voice. Like once you hear, I don't know, the voice just sounds off. It just doesn't look real. Like it just lacks that touch of real lifeness. Like you just using it to generate different stories. So one thing I just think is that they should ban it. I don't know if that is possible. That's what I want to ask. Is it possible like they ban it such that if you use what's it called AI to generate anything and then you want to post it on any social media platform, you not be allowed. And I believe that most of all these AI generated content, there's a way they can put a mark on them, like such that you will know that it is AI generated content. So probably a watermark will help or something. Something to shall curb it because this thing is becoming crazy. Because those guys they are really tasking those data centers, and I mean these are one of the things that are draining the energy. You know, they are draining our energy. They are draining water. They are draining this. In fact, there was something I heard that all those people that used to greet AI is actually consuming energy. That you just go to chatbot and just type I before the chatbot to think of what is generating energy. Just go straight to the point. If you want to use AI, use it wisely. Don't just use it for rubbish content. So I believe that there should be strict what's it called now, strict rules to enforce that these contents are not promoted. That's what I think. I don't know if that's possible.
Yes, I really agree with you. I hate the fact that there are some people running the AI automation channels. They're wasting the AI generation people's money. Okay, even though you have to pay, sha, they're wasting resources, they're damaging the environment, they're misinforming people that don't know how to tell the difference between AI and real stuff. So ah, I really wish that it could be banned, but according to what I just Googled now, social media platforms do not ban AI because the technology is deeply integrated into their core infrastructure. It drives immense user engagement and it drastically lowers costs. So I guess yeah, it increases the engagement. So the social media is also benefiting from more people using it more because of AI. So it's quite sad. But hopefully the EU AI Act should force people to watermark AI generated videos at least. But for audio and text and images, it's a lot harder to make sure they are identifiable. So I hope this answers your question, Gift.
Okay, okay. It's manageable, sha. But I mean, these things. I think if it's possible, there should be like a watermark. Cause another thing that annoys me is seeing all these AI generated graphics design. I'm kind of seeing I've, I've seen God. Like I saw it, I was like, bro, like is it that you don't have eyes or is that your eyes is paining you or someone remove your eyes? Like how will you generate this before me and you are set it and the design and post it out? Like it's not even fine at all. Like bro now. So all those kind of something they should like have watermark so that we will know that clearly but boy AI alone he misuse the AI because it's becoming very very annoying to see all those kind of stuff. Thank you, Jerry. I just
Yeah, I
just
think if
just a
you if
thing.
you download a picture directly from from what's it called? You download the picture directly from ChatGPT and you post it on LinkedIn, you still want CR watermark that will come up on that picture because I think they sort of do like a digital watermarking on the pictures. But the thing is, if you use that picture inside another design, it will not flag that design as AI generated again. So I don't know. There are some ways around it. There are some ways around it that might not exactly be. So I sent a video to the group chat. Everyone can watch it after the meeting. But this Ronaldo Messi something. So like as I said, I saw the video, I was like, is this real? Is this real? Like I saw Ronaldo kissing the cup. Then at the end, they now showed that it was a dream. But I was just thinking, if an AI tool could do that dead part where Ronaldo wakes up from his sleep, then I don't think it's perfect for an AI tool to actually make those videos where Ronaldo is kissing the World Cup. But guys, trust me, this one looked so real. I couldn't even tell that it was AI generated. So, man, it's quite interesting. These are issues that we're going to have to deal with as time progresses. Hello, Bright. Please go ahead to unmute your mic. Just try to be brief so we can move to the next presentation.
Okay, it was concerning the watermark issue. Actually, there has been an industry-wide collaboration between Google, OpenAI, and I think two other companies. When Google was releasing the new Gemini this year earlier, they said that they did a kind of crazy watermark, I don't know, identification process whereby the watermark is in it's not the visible one again, it's integrated into the image. And it's not just that when you put the image and any AI generated image from either ChatGPT and those other two companies and even Gemini, when you put it into the Gemini chat app, it will tell you where the image was generated and what was used to edit the image, right? I think that's the one I'm quite aware of. So there has been like crazy
Oh,
collaborations. So you might not
Yeah, yeah,
see
yeah. I
the
heard of it at Google I/O. Yeah, they mentioned it at Google I/O. They did I think it was on me. Synth ID. Yeah, that was the name. Synth ID.
true. So you might not see the what's the name, the watermark, but it's actually there. If you want to confirm whether it's an AI generated image or not, you can just put it into the Gemini chatbot. It will be able to tell you where the image was generated from and what was used to edit the image to make it look maybe more real. I think so.
wow. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's
Oh, yeah.
wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
That's
you. Thank
wonderful.
you.
Awesome. Thank you for bringing that perspective to the conversation. Very interesting. So let's have the only lady in our midst, our baby of the house. Just if you go ahead to share your screen.
Guys. Okay, okay, okay.
Please go ahead to share your screen.
Um,
Definitely, I think I can stop sharing your screen so you can see her.
well, okay. Mm, sorry, please give me a few seconds. I actually haven't done it.
All right, you have a few
Okay,
seconds.
can you see my screen?
I think it's coming up. I see you are sharing your screen, but I can't see the
Can you
screen.
see my screen? Okay, let me get back to the core and try to do it again. Can you see it? It shows that it's sharing.
Let me ask other people. Can you see the screen, guys? Or is it just me? Like it just shows
Like,
your name. Okay? Yeah, it's just
I
blank. Are
can't.
you sharing a window or sharing your entire screen?
Okay, give me a few seconds. Share. Share screen. Yes. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Awesome.
good
Awesome.
evening, everyone.
So please, you have about 10 minutes. Just
So,
there about plus or minus
no
5 minutes.
problem. That's fine.
Go ahead,
So,
go ahead.
today's presentation, or my presentation, is going to be on the intersection of artificial intelligence and African politics. So I'm going to be talking about how AI is reshaping governance, elections, and digital sovereignty across the continent. Sorry about that. Okay, so now this is essentially like just a table of content or what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about the current situation, like on today's topic, then the evidence of just evidence that I found anyway, and then the risk benefit analysis, like benefits, the consequences of what's going on, and like strategic action as per like recommendations. Okay, so this is the current situation. First, elections are under siege. So at the moment, like currently, elections are transforming into digital battlegrounds. Machine learning is purifying voter rolls, yeah, precision micro-targeting and hyper-realistic deepfakes in trust. Okay, so essentially what that is saying is that like this election and like elections and AI, they're like it's between like different they're like different parties. There are parties that seek to use it for evil, and there are parties that are trying to maybe combat the evil. So that's why it's saying that like it's a digital battleground kind of thing. So it says high tech state control, one of the non-beneficial uses of AI
Sorry, are you
in
changing your
politics.
slide?
So it
Because I'm
says
still seeing agenda or roadmap.
what?
I'm still
Sorry,
seeing
can you say that
agenda
again?
or roadmap. Did you change your slide? Or it's still on previous slide?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like maybe I think it's my network. I can't hear what you're saying.
Can you hear me clearly?
Okay, yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, so I said, did you change your slide or you didn't? Because I'm still seeing agenda or roadmap, and I can't see the battleground something I'm talking about.
Oh, I changed it. Yes, like this is what. Oh, sorry, sorry. I think I mistakenly tapped something. Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Hello.
Yes, yeah, I can see it now. I can see it now. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And so the next thing is high tech state control. Oh yeah, I said that already. So governments are like okay, fragile regimes are procuring advanced foreign AI surveillance faster than they can establish local regulation, validating rule via generative propaganda. So essentially, that's just talking about how the government is kind of okay. No, I'll talk more about it anyway. But like the government is basically sorry for the noise. The government is basically making use of like AI to spy on people, like which is wrong. But I'll talk about it more later anyway. And then there's the digital sovereignty push. So people or like countries are trying to fight back against what like government is doing. So I guess people. So they're trying to fight back against it. It's basically just the efforts trying to like their efforts trying to fight back against it. Okay. So this is the evidence. So this is just like I don't know, I think like feel like it might be random evidence that I gathered. But when I was researching, so it said 79% voter turnout in Ghana. So you know how I was saying like, oh yeah, people are trying to like fight against the non-beneficial uses of AI by the government, right? So I think because of that, in 2020, voter turnout in Ghana was high, which demonstrates how like public trust increases when things like biometric registration safeguards and other safeguards are used, they are introduced in the AI. Sorry about that. Are used, sorry, in elections. And then in other countries or just in African countries too, there's a reduction in support for democracy because people like over a long period of time, people have kind of like lost trust in democracy. So they don't really trust in it all too much. And so there's like a reduction in the amount of people that like believe in it and believe in it. And then there's worsened civic governance. Yeah. So it's essentially just the reduced support for democracy. People don't participate in democratic activities anymore because they don't have faith in it. And recently, upcoming, there are a lot of countries that are facing upcoming, very critical upcoming elections. So it's very important now more than ever that AI is being used beneficially in like voting and election processes. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, I'm so sorry about the picture. Like, I went through so much trying to do this presentation, so please bear with me. So yeah, sorry. Okay, so okay, yeah. So based on the data, these are like good outcomes, kind of. So optimizing bureaucracy. Okay, so in countries like Senegal, right, they've successfully deployed machine learning algorithms to verify candidate voter endorsement, and this helps to bypass human error and gridlock, which can like this is contributing to an increase in like democratic participation and people, right? So yeah, and then there's precision policy mapping using geographical model overlays and satellite imagery rather than structural guesses to systematically identify and allocate anti-poverty resources. So essentially, it's just talking about how there's a lot of regions in Nigeria, like they don't really have a digital footprint because they don't have like that. So AI is helping the government to like locate those areas and help to allocate anti-poverty resources to them. And then there's civic countermeasures. So there's like platforms like Usa and Afri Witness. They're kind of like African made applications, kind of. And so they help public election observers, like people who just want to observe elections, right? Maybe like, okay, yes, to track ballot on election grounds. And then there's consequences like the spiral of cynicism rather. So because institutional trust is already heavily compromised by structural corruption, the arrival of realistic generative deepfakes. Okay, so deepfakes is kind of like, I remember Ezekiel was saying something about how there was this video of Tinubu circulating where he said a lot of things that he didn't actually say. I remember when I heard it and I didn't even know it was being that heard it, so I knew that it had to be AI because it wasn't real. So it's that kind of thing. People will be looking at it and be like, oh, more it's real. Nobody really knows what's real or not because of AI. And then people will be like, oh, they don't even want to use their phones anymore, or they don't want to go like online because like they don't know how to differentiate between what is real and what is not. So it's not encouraging people to go and vote. Like they don't even want to do anything again because they don't know like what's real, what's not, that kind of thing. And then there's the threat of digital invisibility. So you know how I was saying earlier that a lot of African communities they lack sorry about that. They lack a
It
digital
seems you didn't
footprint
change your slide.
because they don't have
I
the
can
money.
see what you're saying. Okay, I can see something.
Right, the slide that I'm on right now. Okay. Okay. So a lot of communities lack a digital footprint and they don't have money to like afford technology, so they lack a digital footprint. So it's kind of like a problem because when AI maybe wants to plan for like the country, they kind of like they forget that those people exist and they make policies and plans without their input or without considering them, and it's very bad. And then recommendations. So these are things that could help. That yes, recommend the things that we recommend will help. So one, there's enforced regional sovereignty. Oh, my time. Sorry, I'm my second to last slide. So it says enforce regional sovereignty via ECOWAS and AU. So it's saying that um people okay no AI essentially is very biased because it's not made by like it's not made locally. So like it's biased. And when we're using it in our operations, it's going to give biased outputs. So they are saying that countries should work like EU and ECOWAS to make laws that will stop
Your slide
global
is
tech
still not
companies
moving on.
investing. Can you see it? It says like the slide that I'm on right now, it's actionable recommendations.
Facing consequences.
I don't know when you see it. I've moved to the other one already.
Just go ahead, go ahead. Maybe net is my network.
Um, collect the data and low level machine language training. So government for but is essentially just talking. Government should fund locally made AI models to prevent that. Yeah. And then there's the implementation of national AI government frameworks. So you know how I was saying that the of AI to do a lot of bad things. And then there's a lot of people that like they will use AI to maybe say things about this contestant, like someone that's contesting for president, or to say bad things about another contestant. They can like use AI to make fake reports kind of about like contestants to like sully their names and stuff. So they are saying that oh they should implement AI for like government. They should make laws rather. They should implement policies and like laws for how computers and AI can be used by the government to prevent yeah to prevent slander and like encourage fair elections. And then they should deploy tech agile election verification teams. Sorry, my time is up, but I'm almost done, sir. So electoral commissions should collaborate with local networks to help establish rapid response units capable of identifying deepfakes before they trigger unrest. So essentially, it's kind of like the like electoral commissions are working with the locally made AI models to like monitor election grounds during elections and make sure that oh everything is going according to plan and stuff. So yeah, this is the conclusion. Uh, Immediate strategic requirements include. I mean, it's essentially just what I said before, but just like I guess these ones are like the ones that like are something is something that could be implemented sooner. Yeah. So yeah, support regional AI governance and rapid response verification teams. We must act now to build local digital sovereignty, protect our workers, and safeguard democratic trust. Yeah, I'm done. Thank you for listening. Yeah, I hope like you guys could see my slide and everything, and I hope I wasn't too fast. Okay, thank you. And those are my references. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I enjoyed your presentation. I think it was well researched. I love the pictures you added. Awesome. Well done.
Thank
Well done. So, so let's open the floor to questions and contributions. I don't think I have any questions. I probably just want to take you back to that slide I could not see. That's like I think a recommendation slide or so. But before we do that, let's see. Do we have any questions from the house? Anybody, any questions, guys? Any contributions, comments, additions, and
Okay, hello.
subtractions? Yes, please go
Jesus.
ahead.
It's not a question really, sharp, but it's just like a suggestion. Yeah, looking at what is it called? Our election system in Nigeria. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know. I once had this conversation of we like having to digitalize election, but I found out that it's not really possible like that. Like all over the world, such that if I want to vote, I can just vote at the comfort of my house. But I found out that to get that done is a lot of taxes. Even USF, they are still doing manual elections. So how much more people like us? So I found out that it's not possible. So with this advent of AI, is it possible to like now integrate something like that so that take for instance now this PVC. I don't know, is there a way I can just make election process easier because people like me like this are not ready to go and queue. So even though people will shout for you and all that, I still might not vote for the next election. So all this kind of stuff. Is there a way I can help us?
Like I don't know if I was supposed to like address that, but like if I'm supposed to address it, you're asking Ezekiel, but like I understand very much. But like I hope you guys can hear me by the way, and I hope I'm not talking. So
We can hear you, man. We can hear you.
thank you. So when I was in the course of my research for my presentation, I think that like to answer your question that AI could actually like potentially be used in like remote voting. So sorry about that. Yeah, in remote voting processes. In that like during my research, I found out that like AI can be used to like maybe help to verify voting signatures to see if there's double voting to ensure that they're counted properly, that kind of thing. And I feel like maybe that's like something that's impeding the actual implementation of remote voting. So I feel like AI could actually be used to solve like all the hurdles involved in remote voting. So it could potentially, maybe at some point in the future, if they've addressed all the problems involved, they could most likely implement remote voting. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you
I
so
know
much,
that
Jasmine.
it's most likely, in the future, not now.
Yes, in the future.
So, Jasmine, if you present somebody gives a contribution, it's primarily for you. Yeah, I just add whatever I can add, but it's primarily for you. Well, yeah, thank you for engaging. So, let's hear from Bright before we plan it.
My question is, Africa in general, though we are not under the rule of any other Western or European country, but
Let me
we
just
have
try to make it brief.
there is a strong influence from them, and I wanted to ask, is there how do I put it, like the pace at which we use AI, or the pace at which AI intersects governance in Africa, are there external influences, I don't know, from other places that determines maybe how we use some of these technologies? I'm just asking.
Okay, so are you trying to say um like the reason we use AI or like the way we use AI is influenced by other countries and stuff?
I mean, let's say, for example, in the election case, what if there are some of these countries that maybe out of self-interest might want to do something to the electronic process to favor the outcome that they need for some sort of I don't know, exploitation or advantage in any of these African countries? I mean, is there like kind of is there something like that existing, or is there any trace of anything like that?
Okay. So I think I get where you're coming from. So like you're worried from other countries, they can like at any point decide that they want to tamper with it as we are using it, and maybe during election processes they can make the AI for one over another. Hello?
I can hear you, Jasmine.
Can you hear me?
I'm not sure if Bright can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. So essentially, my answer to that question is kind of like, yeah, actually, like I said before, right? They can like countries now, like one of the recommendations said was that like African countries should like work together through organizations like AU and ECOWAS, and that they should like contribute to the funding of locally made AI models because there is
Mm.
bias from these countries that we're getting the AI from. So at any point in time, I guess if they wanted to do anything, they could do it. So that's why I'm saying that, to eliminate to eliminate that from occurring, we should make locally made AI models that like are more tailored to like African needs and like situation, the current situation in Africa, and just to our just locally made, sir. So that way there's less tampering from them because it's made by us. So like there's no chance of them tampering because they don't have any sort of influence over it. I hope I answered the question. I hope.
I think that makes sense for me. Yeah. Bright just gave example. But that makes sense. So just give me a minute, guys. Jasmine, please, can you share your slides again? I need. I wanted to see your recommendation slides again. I didn't pretty much get it.
No problem. Let me do that now. Mm. Sorry, hold on. Okay. Okay, this is it. Can you see it?
Yes, yes. No, the one before this one. This I'm seeing confusion.
I didn't hear you. Can you see the slide now?
I can see the slides. I'm seeing the confusion slide. I'm talking about the slide before
Okay.
this. Have you changed it? I'm not seeing it.
That's weird. Can you see my screen though?
I can see your screen, but the slide is still on the confusion slide.
Hmm. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, of course,
are you
now.
seeing it now?
Yeah. Yeah, please, can you just quickly run me through it?
The recommendations, alright. But I hope you can see the slide now.
Yes, 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 I can.
Okay. So the first one is that they should enforce regional sovereignty via ECOWAS and AU. So this one is essentially talking about how African countries should collaborate through organizations like ECOWAS and the AU to make um or rather to make laws rather that would help to block global tech companies from like harvesting local data. And then the next one is mandate localized data and low level machine language training. I believe that's what it is. So government, right? They should fund models like locally made AI models, right? That are natively trained in regional Western cultural and cognitive bias. One and two are essentially like the same thing, but one talks about implementing laws to like so that we don't have to make use or whether they won't take information from us. And then the second talks about creating locally made models, funding models, rather funding the creation of models so that we don't have to use their AI. Then the third talks about implementing national AI governance frameworks because earlier I talked about how the government, like of our own country, said is using AI for like a lot of bad things. They're using it to spy on people, like illegal surveillance. Because there's not really law, there's not any law that says that they can't do that. So they're using it for illegal surveillance. Okay, not really illegal, but they're using it for uninformed surveillance, and then they're also using it to create like deep fakes that like fake information. They are using AI to forge maybe documents about their contestants so that they will not win, so that like they can shift people's favor to them. So this so the recommendation talks about writing rules or making rules for how computers and AI can should be used by the government. And then the last one talks about deploying tech agile election verification team. It's essentially just the electoral commission working with local networks, maybe local AI models to like establish rapid response units capable of identifying defects before they trigger unrest. As well like they're using it to like identify because you know people can make fake information. So electoral commission is working with AI to see, oh, is this thing real? Is this thing fake? So they help to verify the information before the elections, like to prevent arrest, national arrest. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Any other question or contribution before we start drawing the curtains of today's meeting? Floor is open. Mm-hmm. Giving you your virtual round of applause. Any other contributions, recommendations before we call it a day? All right, I would assume there are none. So we just go ahead to wrap things up. So I have been taking notes since the beginning of the presentation up to now, and um, it took us through the environmental cost of AI development, the DeepMind model, and a number of other things. Having sovereign AI, the field, what's it called, field geothermal interventions by Microsoft, I believe, and other things that can be done to ensure that we actually enforce energy cost, environmental cost into AI development in Africa. Then we saw that not many countries have actually considered this. That's the policy gap that obviously exists. Then Daniel took us through AI misinformation and disinformation again, drilling down on the EU AI Act Article 50, China and India and Brazil, and how they've added handled AI misinformation in their countries. And we also spoke about, what's the word? Is it censoring media now? Censoring AI in media, in radio, and independent AI monitoring. So we saw different news and developments that have come up in that aspect. And Jasmine has just took us, taking us through how AI is affecting African politics, right? Having AI laws, consequences, and other recommendations. So. Um, I have some things I want to. I just have some very rough ideas. I'm not giving anybody ideas, but if anybody wants to have ideas, you can feel free to go ahead. Right. So I was just thinking, right? What if we could come up with a sample, like gift? This is I'm probably directing this at you. I'm just thinking, what if we could come up with a sample energy cost, looking at analysis of location, regulation, and environmental cost of where would be suitable for data center development in Africa or Nigeria or West Africa, and why should they choose a particular location for that? What energy would they require for that? How much water would they require for that? What do they stand to gain from that? Because as we keep talking about having localized AI models, we have to start building our own data centers to host these models. And there's also the thing about microchips and how those have become a geopolitical palaver right now. But then, like, I'm just thinking, if we could come up with more specific values and numbers and deliberations along the lines of that, then I don't know, Jasmine, I don't know if we could look into like actual case studies of how AI has affected government in Africa. So I love this high level overview that you have given us. You've spoken about elections and misinformation and the different beneficial uses and consequences of AI in government and all. But like I think I heard of a coup that happened. I think was it in Burkina Faso or I can't remember the country of Mali, where I think the president had been killed, but they streamed an AI video. No, not killed. They had, I think they had removed the president from power. But so that everybody will not know, they created an AI video of the president giving a speech. But people observed that they've not been seeing the president in public for some time. And, that affected people's perception of things. So we could look into that. Um, like just looking at for more scenarios of how AI has affected politics in Africa. Then I don't know, Daniel. I was also thinking, how we're giving example of how AI is affecting like old adults, like the more advanced elders,
Yeah.
how they're
Hello?
not able to. Brett, please, can you turn off your mic? All right. So how they are not able to like decipher what AI model, what is AI generated, what is not AI generated. Ah, hallelujah. I was even thinking about something. How AI is affecting content creation industry in Africa. Have we talked about that before? Like with the influx of AI generated content now, how is it affecting the media? How is it affecting video makers? How is it affecting people that are making original content? How is it affecting their revenue? What's the ad revenue on this kind of AI videos? What regulations should be put in place? Like Daniel was talking about the EU AI Act addressing what is it called? Like extrapolating from the EAR Act, it says it's going to be implemented in October or August thereabout, right? So I was just thinking, is it that Nigeria will not adopt the EAR Act, or Nigeria will have to draft its own act? And guys, this is where it now comes to drafting a policy brief, right? A policy brief that you can send to policymakers in the hopes that they would work on passing that bill in public. So I guess maybe one of these days would have a session on drafting policy briefs because, as you can see, there are many, 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 many pending issues. Let me just write it down so I don't forget. Yeah, there are many issues to be addressed, right? Many issues to be addressed. And give reducing that energy requirements for AI data centers. I just think is something that probably one multinational company outside of Nigeria has been considering. Then I remember we're talking about natural gas for AI data center developments too. And Daniel was explaining that the networks for natural gas deployment in Nigeria has been on the rise gradually. Like, is that something we could explore to like power a data center in Nigeria? I'm just racking my head around the number of things. And this is an example of what I mean by like going deeper on the topic you have picked in the previous week. Right? Just digging deeper, seeing what you can find on it. Except when you now feel like, okay, you have reached the end of the rabbit hole here, then you cannot like pick up a new topic. So sometimes, like, I don't want us to see the work that we have to do every week as daunting. Just see it as you're exploring, and you just give us feedback on where you are at by every Sunday. We are not saying like pick this topic and finish it before the next week. It's just like explore this topic and let us learn from what you have found by the next week. Right. So that's really that's really what it is. That's really what it is. It's a learning journey. And I remember I repeatedly told us when we were starting this that even I don't know what the end of this 16 weeks is going to look like. And we are co-creating this process together. So, like, if you come up with ideas that you think, oh, this would be nice, this would be nice to do, this would be nice to do, feel free to share with us. If you think we should not even be doing this again on Google Teams, Microsoft Teams, maybe we should be having a LinkedIn Live. Maybe we should turn it into a webinar that will be happening every Sunday. Like, feel free to share. Feel free to share. We are building this together. So, for Gift who is not who doesn't have access to LinkedIn account, please post on your Twitter, post on your Instagram, post on Substack, post on any other thing that you can post on Facebook too, because many of the old people that actually care about stuff like this are on Facebook, right? So just post online, get it out of your PowerPoint or your Google Docs. And for those that have access to LinkedIn accounts, please do post on LinkedIn. Nobody has posted from last week. Nobody has posted from last week. The best I can do is to keep us accountable. I can't come into our phones and force us to make that post. So please, it's in our best interest for us to put out this good work that we are doing online. Jasmine, I think this is the first presentation you are taking alone. I think you can still make a post from the previous presentation and make a post from this current presentation. Um, on that note, I think we have gradually come to the end of this meeting. Please, we know the drill. I'm going to be sending the link to the feedback form now. I've sent it to the group chat. Let's fill the feedback form. Um, Gift is trying to join back. All right, Gift, can you hear me?
Yes.
Gift, can you hear me? Yeah. So, I was saying we know the drill, right? Fill the feedback form. Sorry, let me turn off one of this sound. Yeah, fill the feedback form, pick a topic for the week, and make your LinkedIn post. Yeah, so that's the cycle we do every week. Every week after the meetings like this, just fill the feedback form, choose your topic for this coming week. If you are continuing on the topic you are on, you are slightly diverging away from it, please go ahead and let us know in the group chat and make your LinkedIn post. Make your LinkedIn post. Thank you so much for your commitment, guys. I believe some people's commitment has started to wane, and I'm going to address that on the group chat in a few minutes, right? But nonetheless, like, thank you so much for showing up. I really appreciate it. And we are building something together. We are building something beautiful together. Let's keep building. Let's keep building, guys. Show your work online. I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for showing up today. God bless you. Have a good night. You guys don't want to leave the call. You're enjoying it here, but